We're talking 125 National Guardsmen on standby, more than 300 police officers as well, 12 shelters right now across the state, the governor says. And another big problem we're dealing with, lots of outages, thousands of them, 82,000 right now. And so she is asking for patience from everyone out there in case you do lose power. She's believing this could be worse than the storm of 2004 when there were 200,000 outages. And with this ice that we're expecting, Tim, that is a big possibility.
It really is. I remember that storm. It was awful, and I agree. This will certainly surpass this. Let me give you a perspective. This is our tower cam, and pretty soon the tower cam may be gone as far as that's concerned, as far as the view with ice. But right now, so far, so good. This is Gervais Street. I got to tell you, that looks a lot worse than even just 30 minutes ago. Of course, this is the State House. State House is covered in sleet. Maybe about 1 to 2 inches of snow, then more sleet on top of that, and sleet that's continuing to fall, perhaps mixed with a little bit of freezing rain as well. Let's give you current temperatures. 30 degrees. Winds are, look at that, up to 15 miles per hour. That's going to be a problem today, especially when we get into freezing rain. That'll just pile things on and just make things worse. And the dew point is at 26 degrees. We'll talk more about how important that is in a little bit. This is a shot from Newberry. There's the Opera House. There's the streets of Newberry. Maybe that's the first car we've seen on the road all day, thank goodness. But you can tell the streets of Newberry are certainly covered with snow. They've had more snow and sleet than anything. Here's Sumter. Sumter, you've been sort of snow-free. I think that you have a little bit on the ground there, but that's a lot of sleet as well, not nearly as much as perhaps Newberry. And I want to show you Orangeburg. That's the camera in Orangeburg. Why is that important? Well, you know, that's the Claflin University campus, which is always lovely, but right now it's covered in ice. Orangeburg has over a half-inch of ice that is formed, and that's now on tree limbs. We've had reports of trees cracking, power outages, and power lines all through Orangeburg. We are still below freezing, 30 degrees. Actually, that's above where the first 30-degree temperature we've seen, I think, since maybe the 2 o'clock this morning. 27 in Winnsboro. Lancaster at 25. You've been at 25 for hours on end at this point. Orangeburg at 32 degrees. Let's get into radar here. This is what we're watching. First off, everything we see here in the pink, this is freezing rain. This is a sleet, but you notice the sleet sort of intertwines here with the freezing rain. This is snow when you get into Newberry and counties further towards the north, where the upstate's going to get at least 8 to 10 inches of snow. But now we're noticing the freezing rain, as expected, is finally slowly moving up towards the north. So here you have it. We'll zoom in here a little bit closer. Here's Fairfield County, northern Lexington. This is northern Richland County. This is 26. I can't imagine what 26 is looking like. And then watch what happens. You get to Newberry, it turns to, there you have your snow, but your sleet, your freezing rain. So southern Newberry County, you've seen it all. Snow, freezing rain, sleet. This continues to move up towards the north as expected. We'll head down to Orangeburg now. There's Calhoun County, Orangeburg. There's Cope, Swansea, and Lexington County, but this is it. Orangeburg, you've been under the freezing rain gun, if you will, for hours on end, and it continues. Relatively light to moderate heavy times. I want to zoom out here a little bit and show you this. This is all rain in Georgia, this area here, but it's all moving towards the northeast as the system continues to move in that same direction. So we'll have to watch this because all of this has to come through our state before it's done. And this is the colder air now starting into a little bit into Georgia. This was rain earlier, but now the colder air is across the Savannah River into Georgia, and all this is headed in our direction. So we're not out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination. I would say at least for maybe another 16 hours before everything's said and done. So when everything is said and done, this is the swath of ice we're talking about, and we're going to maybe have to play with the numbers, but I think this is fairly realistic. A half inch to an inch, with some places receiving more than an inch. And Vaughn Gaskin will be in a little bit while longer, for a little bit from now. We'll talk about how heavy that 1 inch of ice actually is. It weighs hundreds of pounds. I'll just give you the timeline on this. First off, for the rest of today, through the Midlands, sleet and freezing rain. Freezing rain will be heavy at times. No doubt about that. Northern Midlands, you have sleet, snow, freezing rain. Total sleet and snow accumulations, when everything is said and done, is 3 to 6 inches. We may have to work on some of those numbers, but that's about average at this point. For the Southern Midlands, this is a freezing rain, sleet event, changing all to freezing rain. So what we received this morning, we're going to add to it as we get to this afternoon and this evening. Now, coming up, we're going to pinpoint the timeline of what we can expect hour by hour as we get through the rest of this afternoon into this evening and when this storm will leave, because on the backside of this storm, we can also see some snow in the Midlands. And we'll talk more about that as well as we get through this storm together. We'll do that for sure today. Lynn, I'll send it back to you.
Tim, thank you very much. And let's get a live update now on road conditions out there. For that, we go to Jennifer Emmert. She is live at Greystone Boulevard. Jen.
Well, we've been out here since about 9 o'clock this morning. This is what continues to fall from the sky, these little tiny ice pellets. It makes like you're driving on ball bearings out on the roadways. And of course, that's causing some problems out on these highways. Take a look here on 126. You can see over here in the eastbound lanes, we've got a police officer and another utility truck that have kind of stopped here on the roadway. We had a fire truck out here just a short time ago. I'm kind of cautioning everyone to slow down in this area. We want to show you some video we shot a little earlier this morning. You can see the DOT plow trucks working on 126. They did the eastbound lanes and then turned around and did the westbound lanes on this roadway. DOT tells us that they have some extra salt supplies that have come in from the Charleston area, and they feel like they are able to keep the roads treated through Friday with the supplies that they have now. We also witnessed the on-ramps and the off-ramps getting a little icy out here. Of course, we saw somebody have to tow another vehicle, one motorist stopping to help another tow them up the off-ramp here to Greystone Boulevard. So you want to be careful out there on the on-ramps and the off-ramps. The DOT has been able to treat some of the major roadways. 20, 77 seems to be moving very well, but it is at a slower pace. So just use some caution, common sense out there, and be careful. Along Greystone Boulevard, Jennifer Emmert, WIS News 10.
Similar scene right here in downtown Columbia. It's been like this all morning. Really, the sleet started around 3:30 this morning. Heavy sleet coming down. We saw the mixture to snow. Now we're back to that sleet. And our Katie McKee met up with Highway Patrol early this morning over that Greystone Boulevard Pass. She stayed with them throughout the morning and most recently went on a ride along with them and has the updates now on conditions on those roadways.
And actually coming from Lexington here to downtown Columbia, I've noticed where the ice is starting to stick to the roadway.
At 3 a.m. this morning, I first hopped in the car with David Jones from Highway Patrol. At this point, the roads were starting to get slick, causing the driver of this truck to spin out of control and smash into a guardrail. And as the morning continued, the winter mixture did as well. First with freezing rain, then sleet, and finally a coating of snow. Within a matter of minutes, the roads went from bad to brutal.
This is totally different. This is a lot of ice involved, and for us, it's pretty invisible until it's almost too late.
Jones's radio was flooded with accidents and reports of slippery spots, especially on exit ramps.
And these areas are dangerous only because even though we're equipped with a full drive, if it's full of ice, a full drive really means nothing at that point.
Jones says that even troopers were having a rough time getting around.
I've talked to a lot of troopers throughout the state, and everybody's got the same message. The roads are just in poor shape.
A message that has been heard loud and clear throughout the day. In Columbia, Katie McKee, WIS News 10.
And our Dondi Mercer-Plank is monitoring developments on social media this afternoon. She joins us from the update desk with the latest on power outage numbers, also conditions from Highway Patrol.
Lynn, thanks. For the most part, when people are sending me tweets or Facebook messages, they're enjoying the snow from their homes, and that's why we want to do it. If you look at this map behind me, normally when we take this map, most of the roads are green, meaning the traffic is flowing well. Yellow means traffic is slowing down. I have never seen this much yellow on here, but I much prefer to see the yellow because obviously it means people are taking seriously that they need to slow down in these conditions if they have to be out driving. When it goes red, as you can see in just a couple areas, it usually indicates an accident. In fact, South Carolina Highway Patrol, as you heard the governor mention earlier, has already responded to a fatality accident that happened earlier today. This was this morning when this fatality happened. A woman driving too fast for conditions on I-95 northbound around the 128-mile marker. So hate to report that had happened. Another fatality had happened yesterday in the Ridgeway area of Fairfield County, also on wet roads and speed too high. We do know that there are 1,500 DOT workers out on the road as we take a live look through our cameras here looking over the capital city area there. This is what we want to see. Very little traffic out there at I-20 East at 277. 2 accidents involving officers so far during this winter weather because they have to be out there to protect the rest of us. So far, 4,400 tons of salt have been spread so far throughout the roadways. But, you know, for those of us who live out in the country, not only do we not get a lot of salt where we are, but we don't get any plowing or anything else like that. So again, word to the wise, go ahead and stay home if you can. As far as workers out there, 354 state officers are on the roads. I saw not only a lot of highway patrolmen out there coming in this morning, but I saw so many emergency responders having to answer the call to duty. As far as power outages are concerned, South Carolina SCENG has about 4,600 workers out there. Now, 300 of whom are people who are out-of-state workers who are here to help us. These would include linemen, dispatchers, tree trimmers. And then as far as outages, the governor just gave an updated number, which is updating exponentially now, but it's now up to about 82,000 customers under SCENG who are without power at this point. That'd be about 82,000 homes. Duke Energy is looking at about 300, and the electric cooperatives of South Carolina, I am waiting for an updated number from them, but it's looking well over 15,000 out of power there. As far as airports are concerned, if you have to fly somewhere today, I don't think you're going out today. Most all flights are canceled, not only to get out of the greater Columbia area, but also flights coming in to Columbia Metropolitan Airport. And also, don't forget the situation in Fairfield County and some places north of us, just heavier snow out there. It was almost night and day leaving Blythewood coming into Columbia, but all areas getting it. And not just that heavier snow, but obviously the freezing rain and sleet. So, Lynn, I'm going to throw it back to you, and I'll keep monitoring here what's happening. But as the governor said, and as I look at the roadways here, best to stay inside if you can.
That is the best advice, Dondi. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. I believe